Thank you, son. I'm getting a great colour for forgetting names. Can you tell me your name? Harry, thank you again on a wonderful introduction. And good morning to you all, and especially the great people that travel from the traditional lands of their country in the old days and the old ways. I've met a few this morning. I've travelled through their country, very honourable, and I paid my respects while staying there with them, with their elders. Great people. I can mention them from the Burrupai to the Dungari peoples, all the many rivers people, wonderful people. The Darkinjung, I love them people, and around the Wabigal and that runs into the waters and the lakes. And there's not any reason why I talk and speak of those people. I'm a bit of a saltwater man myself with a great connection to the great land of the Dharawal people, in which you people very, very proudly live on and stay on and learn on and travel and work with your families. So it's great to be here with you, people. I hope those people had a safe journey, all people that travelled. And after the ceremony, most certainly have a safe journey home. Good morning, Principal, teachers, students, ladies and gentlemen. What is Naidoc Week? Naidoc Week celebrates the history, culture and achievements of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Naidoc is celebrated not only in Indigenous communities, but by Australians from all walks of life. The week of Naidoc is the one time in the year our culture is opened up and shared with the wider communities, and is a great opportunity to participate in a wide range of activities, to get to know our people and to understand our culture. We acknowledge the past history of the Aboriginal people, their struggles and advancements that they have experienced. We acknowledge the plight of the Aboriginal tendency and its fight for justice. We proudly highlight and recognise the role they have played in shaping our identity, and pause to reflect on their sacrifice. We celebrate and honour their priceless contribution. This special week brings people together to celebrate. Each year we have a different theme. This year's Naidoc theme is, we all stand on sacred ground. Learn, respect and celebrate. Naidoc highlights our people's strong spiritual and cultural connection to land and sea, in which I spoke of earlier. Naidoc encourages all Australians, young and old, to embrace the 2015 National Naidoc theme and to respect and celebrate local and national sites of significance or sacred places. For our people, a sacred place could be a river or a lake, a beach, bays, inlets, hills or mountain ranges. They could also be ceremonial grounds, galleries of rock art or engravings, or places used for gathering for cultural practices. It is an opportunity to pay our respects to country, acknowledge those who work tirelessly on preserving land, sea and culture, and to celebrate with our fellow Australians. Without any further delay, on behalf of the Dharawal people, the traditional custodians of this land, on Dharawal country, all elders past, present and future, all other Aboriginal people now living on this land. Also, I acknowledge all non-Indigenous people here today. I welcome you all here today, and I thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
We begin our assembly, as always, in prayer.
Lord, your creation is a gift to us. We are all standing on your solid rock. We are all standing on sacred ground. Help us to recognise the sacred in all around us. Help us recognise the sacred in the story of our Aboriginal people. We are living on borrowed time. May we not hesitate to recognise the sacred in all around us, especially in each other. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Please say it out, boys. Please say it out, boys. Please give him a round of applause. The theme for Naidoc 2015 is We All Stand on Sacred Ground. Learn, respect and celebrate. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples have strong spiritual and cultural connections to the land and sea. The living culture is intrinsically linked with significant sites and sacred places. What does the term sacred ground mean?
Sacred ground means it's the home of the Aboriginal people of Australia. It's special. It's a very special ground. It's really our mother. It's ground to Aboriginal people the earth portrays our mother. So to me, it's about respecting the land that we walk on, also the Aboriginal people that own the land that we are today on.
What does the term sacred ground mean to you?
This ground is a perfect example of a sacred ground. It's a ground where the home team will always feel at home and very strong and have a distinctive advantage over the opposition.
A cultural and spiritual thing, like what elders past and like Aboriginal people have walked on, probably lived on and stuff.
Sacred ground means a place of tradition. People have been for a long time.
Well, it's a part of me. Sacred ground is like my mother. It's me, and I would like to take care of it, and I wouldn't want anyone ruining it. So, yeah, it's sacred to me and my family.
Sacred ground to me means somewhere where someone's buried or has reverence to someone. Or, for example, at the chapel, next to the chapel, I consider that sacred ground and I never go on there and I respect it.
Sacred ground is something that's special to you, like yourself.
You like go camping somewhere, like if you like that camping sport, or like if you like going someplace rather than others, it's special to you for some reason.
Someone's own place where they can go in, like, so it feels like their home.
It means country.
To me, sacred ground is a special place where people can come together as a community. For me, an example of a special place would be the footy field.
The place where you're from and where you've grown up.
Sacred ground is just a place that has special meaning to you, somewhere we have a connection.
I think it's when someone's been there and like they've claimed it.
It's like a significant area.
What does the term sacred ground mean to you?
Back in the time when the Aboriginal people owned land.
Sacred ground means it's the home of the traditional home of the Aboriginal people of Australia. It's special. It's very.
In this assembly, we will explore the meaning of sacred ground and look at some distant places and some closer to home.
I'm sure you will all recognise the name Uluru. It is a place commonly recognised throughout Australia as being sacred ground to the local Aboriginal people, the Anangu. Uluru is a massive sandstone rock in central Australia. This awesome and beautiful site includes many caves, springs, waterholes and ancient rock paintings. Aboriginal culture dictates that it was formed by the activities of ancestral beings in creation time. Australia's native people believe that they're direct descendants of these ancestral beings. They continue to carry on the rituals and responsibilities associated with ancestral land. This is the law. In 1985, exactly 30 years ago, Prime Minister Bob Hawke handed ownership of Uluru and the surrounding national park, including Carter, also known as the Olgas, back to the Anangu people. The national park now has a 99-year lease of area under joint management with the Anangu people. Uluru is 600 million years old. It reaches down into the ground for 2.5 kilometres. In 1987, the significance of the rock and the surrounding park was recognised internationally, being designated as UNESCO, a World Heritage Site. Sacred ground indeed. Uluru is 348 metres above ground. The climb to the top is a steep 1.6 kilometres. At this base, a sign reads, "Our traditional law teaches us the proper way to behave. We ask you to respect our law by not climbing Uluru." Sacred ground. Would you ignore this sign? Uluru is 9.4 kilometres around the base. Certain spots are ceremonial sites where the Enugu people perform the necessary rituals. Out of respect for the cultural heritage, no photography signs are placed in these special places. Often visitors ignore them. Would you? Respecting the traditions of any culture is a wise way to behave. Whether travelling overseas in Australia, there are stories of very bad luck, when bad dreams that affect people who take rock souvenirs from Uluru back home with them.
Aboriginal heritage is inseparable from the natural environment, from individual plants and animals to ecosystems. The land and waterways are associated with dreaming stories and cultural learning that links Aboriginal people with who they are and where they belong. White Lady Rock is a natural feature in northwestern New South Wales desert country. It is sacred to local Aboriginal people. White Lady Rock is a giant white quartz boulder surrounded by smaller rocks. Mythology says that it is the body of the White Lady, who was a type of queen of the local Aboriginal people. White Lady Rock was known as a healing place. If people were very sick, their relatives would travel to White Lady Rock to ask the White Lady to make them better. The White Lady has been likened to the Mary, the Mother of Christ, in Christian culture. White Lady Rock is important to Aboriginal communities spread throughout Western New South Wales. In 1935, the Aboriginal Protection Board forced many of the Aboriginal families who lived along the nearby Thompsons Creek to leave the area. The story of the White Lady Rock travelled with them and continues to be told.
Does a place have to be big to be significant, or special, or sacred? How can you identify an Aboriginal site? Aboriginal places of significance range from small ceremonial sites to enormous mountains. In fact, everything in the landscape can have special meaning for Aboriginal people. Sites can include national places, occupation sites, rock art, cemeteries, story sites, massacre sites and missions. Let's take a look at some of these.
Ceremonial grounds. Ceremonial grounds are sites where initiations, marriage alliances, tribal meetings and other important social functions were held. They are places of great significance to Aboriginal people. Sites used for male activities such as initiation ceremonies may be forbidden to women. Sites used for female activities such as giving birth may be forbidden to men. This leaves some places with a distinctly male or female energy about them. This is sacred ground.
Carved trees are becoming rarer in New South Wales as trees decay and fall over or are burnt. Aboriginal people used carved trees to mark burial and ceremonial sites. A section of the bark of the tree would be removed and a carving made on the exposed wood. These trees are still significant to particular Aboriginal groups. This is sacred ground.
Scarred trees are those from which a section of the bark and wood has been removed to make canoes, shields, containers called cormons, and other utensils and weapons. Other trees have toeholds cut in them for hunting possums or gathering honey. This is sacred ground.
Stone arrangements range from simple mounds to complex ceremony sites. Some of these have practical use as hunting hides or fish traps. Others may have ceremonial role for initiation or other religious purposes. We do not know the purpose of many stone arrangements, but some are still important and significant to Aboriginal groups. This is sacred ground.
The Sydney Basin is one of the most significant places in Australia in terms of Aboriginal archaeological sites. There are around 4,500 sites registered by the Office of Environment and Heritage. As part of the Indigenous education program here at St Greg's, this year we have had excursions to Berry Island on the north side of Sydney Harbour and Maroon Midigar Cultural Centre at Castlereagh near Penrith.
Berry Island was an occupational site. This is evident in the rock carvings, abundant bush tucker including oysters and fish, and a midden. Middens are common and contain shells, tools and the bones of fish, mammals and birds. They are like a biodegradable recycling centre. Middens can sometimes be human burial sites. We'd also seen a rock carving of a large sea creature.
Muru Midigar is in Dara country and means pathway to friends. Many Indigenous boys took a non-Indigenous friend on this excursion. I went with my friend Lockie Stewart. The purpose of Muru Midigar is to spend time with traditional owners and learn. We threw boomerangs, did individual paintings, listened to elders and learned about culture and respect. I learned that when you throw a boomerang you have to throw it on an angle or it won't come back.
Sacred ground is everywhere, and ceremony can be found in unexpected places. In Melbourne's Federation Square last month, there was a festival called The Light in Winter. The closing ceremony was conducted by an Aboriginal elder from the area. Please watch the screen and listen.
Sure. Go now. My name is Rob Bundle, and I'm of Bidjara and Ewan mobs and country and clan and people. And we're here tonight at Federation Square in Melbourne at the lighting window and the closing ceremony evening, and talking about how important and how significant the fire is, and sacredness of the fire, and sacredness of sacred ground and sacred country. It's so important, it's fulfilling for not only from the earth, which is giving, but also from people, from country, giving back. I think that's probably one of the most important things about fire in sacred country. For me personally, it's to do with family, it's to do with heart, and it's to do with harmony and love. And that is encapsulated by the earth and what it gives and what it offers, and how important that is. And for us to be fully acceptance of one another, and I think that's pretty sacred too as well, and pretty important for everybody to be able to be in a really beautiful space of understanding each other and getting on. And I think the mind, the fire, and the heart of fire and the heart of country is probably one of the most important things on the planet that drives us all right across the universe, from the sun, the moon, and the earth. And our mother is our mother, and we pay homage to her and to everything that the warmth of the fire and warmth of country and warmth of family in particular is all about. Yeah. Sacredness of fire, sacredness of heart, sacredness of country.
Okay. Okay,
Sure.
go now.
My name is...
Here in print are some of Uncle Rob Bundell's Indigenous wisdom.
Mrs. Clark, can you tell us please what's next on the readers?
Rock art is the oldest surviving human art form. It shows us about Aboriginal life and customs before European settlement. Pictures on rocks were an important part of Aboriginal songs, stories and customs that connected people with the land. This is sacred ground.
Drawings are pictures chalked onto rock surfaces using dry pigments. Paintings using wet pigments by stenciling, finger painting, or by using makeshift brushes such as jute sticks. The pigments used in rock art are usually naturally occurring minerals such as ochre. Ochres are very stable, long-lasting, colour-fast compounds in colours white, yellow, reddish-brown and black. Ochres are clay and are some of the earliest pigments used by humans. Very ancient paintings and drawings can still be found where they are protected from direct rain and sun. Places such as rock caves, rock shelters and cliff faces may be picture galleries. The paintings and drawings found in Central Australia can be very different in style to those made on the coast. This is sacred ground.
Engravings are outlines or filled-in figures created on rock surfaces by pecking, hammering or scraping. The sandstones around Sydney is rich in engraving sites with a unique style of outline figures. As with paintings and drawings, engraving styles vary throughout Australia. Some national parks have engraving sites which can be visited with a guide. At sites like these, people would gather, talk, laugh, argue, pass on knowledge, record information and take part in ceremonies. This is sacred ground.
Development throughout Australia has destroyed many sites, and those that remain need to be protected. The National Parks and Wildlife Act of 1974 protects Aboriginal cultural sites. It is an offence to destroy, deface or damage an Aboriginal object or an Aboriginal place. It is an offence to move an Aboriginal object from the land on which it has been suited.
When Aboriginal places are protected, everybody benefits. Aboriginal sites can tell us a lot about Australia's Indigenous history. The next time you drive into a countryside, think about how the landscape may reveal a very different story to Aboriginal people who understand the land. They may see things such as important food and medicine plants, important sites, clan territories, or good camping areas. These may be reflected in landscape changes such as soil colour or plant species, rivers or mountains. Or they may see the cultural aspects of prominent natural features, such as a lake or a cliff, formed long ago by one of the creation ancestors.
What does sacred ground mean to you?
I think sacred ground means a place that has been there from the start. or a place where you can be with some people together?
To me, it's traditionally for our people and where our ancestors and all that lie, and it should be respected and respected by those that aren't of the culture, and at least as long as it's respected and people give it the tribute that it should deserve.
It is to be your own special area where you belong, where you feel home. It has a history to your family and a reverence to your past of your own culture. And it has, when you go there, it brings emotions of where you live, what your history is, your past, the present, the future of your family and the generations of your family to come.
Where would we find sacred ground?
Well, it depends where you are. Well, because I'm from the coast, it'd be Nara, Wreck Bay, all the beaches in that area are all sacred to me.
It's ground that shouldn't be touched by people that want to wreck it, like just land that should be left as it is and once was important to other people.
To me it means like special place to you, like your home, where you live and where you go that makes you feel like safe.
It is ground that has been held in people's hearts for
Sacred
many years.
ground means that you belong to the land, that shouldn't be touched and that it's important to you and who you are.
The term sacred ground means to me home and where memories are made and family can be safe and secure.
Traditional Aboriginal people, where they come from.
What does sacred ground mean to you?
I think sacred ground means a place that has been there from the start.
Hello fellow students, parents and teachers. My name is Brent Webster Mansfield and my Aboriginal heritage lies with the Yorta Yorta people. The sacred ground of the Yorta Yorta people is the forest and wetlands of the Central Murray-Goulburn region. The Yorta Yorta are a freshwater people. Most of their food came from fishing, the rich network of waterways and wetlands in their clean country. These are still regarded as the life source and the spirit of the Yorta Yorta nation. The Yorta Yorta had a healthy lifestyle and a population of 5,000 to 6,000 people. But the arrival of the Europeans had a devastating impact, and in just 25 years, European diseases and killings reduced the Yorta Yorta people to around 1,000 people. But somehow this small number endured and managed to survive as a distinct group with their own culture and traditions. This is an example of the strength and courage of my ancestors. Yorta Yorta language too managed to survive the ravages of colonisation. I would like to introduce a song in Yorta Yorta language sung by our college choir. This song is called Narabara Whara.
Thank you, Mr. Cleanfield, Miss Harmer, and the boys. Close to home, we have sacred ground at Appin. The Appin area is Tharawal land. The native people have had an abundance of food from both the waters and the land. Less than 30 years after European arrival, Appin was the site of one of Australia's greatest tragedies, a massacre. Tharawal lands were extensive when Captain Phillip arrived with the first fleet. Every 20 years or so, great meetings were held in this area, and nations as far away as Maroochydore in Queensland and as far south as Melbourne walked here to make new laws, settle disputes, arrange marriages, or form alliances. In 1798, Reverend William Howe reported a gathering of 100,000 Aborigines in the Camden area. If you think about that, it's 100 times the size of the audience here today. The local Tharawal people were a peaceful and cooperative people who got on well with other tribal groups. They also got on quite well with the new white neighbours until a chain of events occurred. In 1814, there was a drought. It was customary for the neighbouring Gundungurra people from the mountains to come onto Tharawal land in times of drought. A Gundungurra leader named Bitch Gully set up a camp with his wife and child, despite the many white settlers in the area they traditionally hunted around, which was Camden. Some white stockmen came upon the camp while Bitch Gully was hunting. They brutally tortured and murdered his wife and child. Bitch Gully retaliated with similar violence, and a 2-year war began between the Gundungurra and the white settlers. It must have been a terrifying time for black people and for white people. It is part of what Australian history calls the Frontier Wars. The Tharawal people stayed out of it. After 2 years of conflict, the rain began and the Gundungurra people returned to the mountains. Unfortunately, devastating orders had already been issued by the white government in Sydney town. Governor Macquarie had ordered the military to deal with the Aboriginal community by punishing and clearing the country of them entirely and drive them across the mountains. Following orders and making no distinction between Aboriginal clans, the soldiers came upon the men. The soldiers attacked and slaughtered the men, taking the heads of 14 clan leaders and returning to Sydney town. Meanwhile, local stockmen raided the camp of the women and children, shooting, stabbing, and trampling with horses. Any survivors were driven over the cliffs at Broughton Pass. These were the peaceful people, Tharawal people, not the troublesome Gundungurra. This is a most shocking and upsetting chapter in white Australia's early history and a dark stain on our local area. This killing ground is sacred ground, and the people so dreadfully massacred are honoured here every year at the Appin Memorial Ceremony. Next year marks 100 years since the massacre in April 1816. I hope we can all have a good representation of St Gregory's families attend this very important memorial ceremony. I now invite our College Aboriginal Liaison Officer, Miss Harmer, to say a few words. Please give her a round of applause.
Thank you, James. That round of applause was not in the script. Okay, isn't it great to be inside? Who remembers Naidoc last year? Outside, in the wind, the flags kept falling over, one of the banners had ripped. The guests were seated on the metal benches that they said were like ice cubes. The boys were freezing, especially those that were wearing nothing but a lap and some ochre. So fantastic to be in here today in this beautiful, beautiful hall. Now I'll have a look at what I'm supposed to say. Okay, I'm going to ad-lib quite a bit, I think, just for the next few minutes. First of all, I'd like to draw your attention to these incredible murals that we have decorating the stage today. Every year I try to run an Aboriginal themed sport in Term 4. We've done a couple of years of culture and dancing, and last year we did Aboriginal art. And these are two of the pieces that were produced by the boys with the help of our guest artist Darren Dunn. The one on the left, the Goanna one, is a male painting. This is male energy with male colours and a male totem. The one on the right of the turtle, of course, is the opposite, is the female energy with the female, one of the female totems, as told to us by Darren. I think they're absolutely extraordinary, and I would like to say congratulations to the boys who had a hand in painting those. Sam Canty in particular had a very big role in the production of these, as did Lockie McGrady and Dylan Green. I know I've forgotten a lot of people, but they had done a lot of the main roles. Hamish Capewell, a lot of our dancers here today. What did you think of the opening? And I'm so proud to say that those boys created that dance themselves. We had no professional input. We sat down, we workshopped the words of the song, we talked about how we could portray it as a story, and together they created all of that choreography, and I think they're as good as Bangarra. Well done, boys. I can't even tell you how proud I am of you. Thank you so much. So, here we are. We're celebrating and we're learning. But what I wanted to have a word to you about is the other word in the tagline, and we've heard it a lot in this assembly, and it's the word respect. It's been repeated over and over in the last 3/4 of an hour. I researched respect and came up with a range of very positive words like appreciation, deep admiration, good manners, and due regard for the thoughts, feelings, interests, and wishes of others. And finally, I settled on this for myself. Respect is thinking and behaving in a positive way that fits into the traditions of the culture in which you exist. I'm going to say that again. Respect is thinking and behaving in a positive way that fits into the traditions of the culture in which you exist. The same applies here at St Gregory's College. We have a very particular culture here, a very beautiful culture based on Marist principles. And when I was comparing some of that beautiful Indigenous wisdom from Uncle Rob Bundle and compared that to the 5 Marist principles, I saw that there was very little difference between the two. I recently had the opportunity to catch up with a very special friend of mine from the Northern Territory, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you.
Hello, my name is Sylvia Nolpilic. Hello, my name is Sylvia Nolpilic, and I'm an Aboriginal woman from the northeast of Arnhem Land. I come from a community called Milingimbi. Milingimbi is an island itself in a remote country of the northeast of Arnhem Land. I wanted to talk about what Naidoc means to me. To me, Naidoc is about who you are, where you come from, what your background is. Whether you have background or not, you still belong somewhere. That is very, very important for a young person A Yulmo is an Aboriginal person in general I am talking of. And remember that if it's something talking about standing on the sacred ground, it means that you come full on with dignity, pride, respect. There's a boundary in relating to that knowledge and understanding one another from both foot. And we need that to happen for good and better understanding to benefit all people in understanding and respecting to each other.
A modern day ceremonial woman from remote parts of Arnhem Land, and she was in Sydney to attend the first screening of her first film. She's just made a film in language with English subtitles, and her film is the story of her grandmother's journey to reclaim an endangered songline, to reclaim it, to learn it, and to pass it on. And Sylvia is the person she's passing it on to. The image up there, the woman in the middle, is Sylvia's grandmother, and the woman on the side is Sylvia. I would like to point out the words that she used. She talked about the importance of having dignity, pride, and respect. There's that word again. This is the only planet that we have, people. If we don't respect her and respect all the animals and everybody else who lives on her, we are going to be in big trouble. Mother Earth provides everything that we need. Okay, one thing I learned this week, I'll be very quick, Mr. Miller, don't panic. Finally, the pendulum has swung and Indigenous culture is getting the recognition that it deserves. There was a new tourism campaign launched just this week, and it's focusing on Indigenous tourism in the outback, and it's worth $6 billion to the Australian economy. That was billion with a B. They're going to be aiming this campaign at overseas visitors, especially those from China. My hope is that these people who come from cities and don't have a lot of connection with the earth will walk away with a new understanding of how important that is. I'm going to leave you with a special clip from the Light in Winter Festival in Melbourne. I was at just a few weeks ago, and I hope you get a giggle out of this one. Thanks very much.
So there with this beautiful number of John Lennon's Imagine.
would like to thank Uncle Ivan for coming today and welcoming us to country. Uncle, I know you haven't been well, and it is wonderful that you have made the effort to be here with us today. To the parents and family members, thank you for also being here. Some of you have travelled a long way to celebrate with us today. All the boys who have stepped up today, and presenters and performers despite nerves and self-conscientiousness, you have done yourselves and your community proud. Thank you. To our special guests, please join us for morning tea in the foyer, and all the Indigenous boys can come for a short time. I will leave you with the special words by Muji Macha woman, Vicky Clark.
We walk together on sacred ground, black feet, white feet, footprints upon the sand. The dreaming is even present, moving beneath our feet. The landscape is alive, never depleted to the point where it can never be replenished. Respect the land and engage in an ongoing relationship with it.
Uncle Ivan, special guests, parents and friends, staff and gentlemen of the college. Good morning and welcome to our Naidoc Assembly for 2015. Firstly, I'd just like to say thank you to Uncle Ivan for making his time to be here this morning. As you heard, he hasn't been well, so we're very appreciative of the fact you are here with us and joining in this morning. Also to our special guests, our parents and friends who have taken time off work to make that effort to be here today. We really do appreciate that, and I thank you for that. To Mrs. Harmer and her team and all the young men who are up here, thank you for what you've done this morning and bringing this assembly to light for us. The theme, we all stand on sacred ground, learn, respect and celebrate. As you heard from Harry before, Uluru was handed back 30 years ago. And through our assembly this morning and what you've seen on the screens, we've learned a lot about various Indigenous sites that need to be respected. But when we talk about celebration, Naidoc is a Naidoc week and they have a celebration. This year it was in Adelaide and they presented a number of awards for various people. One of them I picked up this year was the Young Artist of the Year. And this gentleman's name was Harry Pitt. He's a Torres Strait Islander and he did a painting that was the best one they put out there for that particular week. And when I looked at the painting, it has the land in the background and has three brothers standing together in the middle of it, and they're standing in water and they're looking to the horizon. With the three brothers, they're in the service uniform of the Army, Navy and the Air Force. But standing in the water is representative of their elders, who are giving them courage and strength and knowledge to face the challenges that lie beyond the horizon. Harry Pitt is a gentleman who went to uni. He was the first member of his family ever to go to uni, and he was doing graphic design and visual arts. And as I said, that painting he has done is beautiful. If you go on the Naidoc website, you'll be able to see it. When we talk about celebration, if we go to the other end of the spectrum, there's a lady called Rosalie Monks. She's 78. She was born in Utopia, which was a property in Northern Territory. And at 16, she was again the lead role in the film Jeddah. She was one of the first Aboriginal actors to gain a lead role in a film. After that, she moved to Melbourne. She lived in a convent down there for 10 years. Then she went back to Alice Springs and has lived in Alice Springs for the last 50 years. But in her time in Alice Springs, she's got involved in human rights activity in the political arena. And as a result of that, and all the work she's done over that time, She's been given the Order of Australia. She's been the Territorian of the Year, and she's been one of the finalists in the Australian of the Year. Once again, there are two people, two different spectrums, and we celebrate what they've done and what they've achieved. And when we go forward from here today, gentlemen, our challenge is learn, respect, and celebrate. And if we can do that, we've achieved something. You come here to St Greg's, as we've said many times, the education you get here, it's a privilege for you to be here. And you've got to accept and give thanks for that. And to take that challenge forward of learn, respect, and celebrate.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. And again, can I reiterate what a great job the boys and Ms. Harwood did today, and I again like to welcome and thank our special guests for being here. I'd now like to take the opportunity to invite our parents that have been able to join us and our special guests, if they would like to move out through the back doors. There is a morning tea for you all now, so if you'd like to move now, and then boys, if we can remain here quietly, and I'll dismiss you in a moment. Thank you.